Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome back to the Real Blessing Chukwu Show. I hope you're all doing great and taking care of yourselves and each other. Welcome back on another intriguing episode. Today, we are going to be talking about why marriages fail. Why our marriages fail when we already said I do until death do part. And then, at the end of the day, it fails. So there is a reason why the marriages fail. So that's what we're going to be looking at this afternoon. We all know at the Blessed Chukwu Show, the Real Blessing Chukwu Show, we talk about religion, we talk about family, we talk about social life, we talk about unfolding your daily dreams and to let you in what is going on in around the world. And on Sunday, we talk about God's Word, which is on Time to Connect, where we go in depth into the Word of God. But I want to welcome you this afternoon as we go into Real Blessing Chukwu Show to look at why our marriages fail. My name is Blessing Chukwu, and welcome back to my channel. So let us look at some of the reasons why marriage fail, because when we say I do, according to the word of God, says that a man shall leave his father and his mother, so shall a woman, and they shall come together and they will become one, and no man shall be able to put asunder their marriage or their relationship until death do part. Amen. Yes. So now we want to look at some of those factors and some of those things that really make us to have a divorce or separation or so much trouble, constantly going with too much different problems. I think, though, that number one reason our marriages fail is living and lying to each other. When you live and you lie to your partner, to the person that you have said, this is the person I want to, spend the rest of my life with, it is so difficult for that marriage to work, because though you're lying, you're not telling him or her the truth. That means you are not in that marriage for good. You are in that marriage to come and get what you want and how you want it. Why would you not tell your spouse the truth? Why would you not, let them know the truth about you, about what it is that you're doing? And most of these lies come from, especially with money. How much did you spend? Why should we spend this money? Why are you spending that money? Especially when you're a shopaholic, you always like to shop. You always like to look good. You always like to look big. You always like to, do things other people are doing. So all those kind of things. And when your spouse find out, maybe the first time you try to tell them him or her the truth and say, oh, I spent this money on clothes or shoe or bag, or I went to a party and I spent the money, or I was gonna use this for this, and your spouse says, you should know how much we have before you spend that money. You cannot just go spending money and going on a shopping spree, because we cannot spend money that way. And then what do? The next time, because it's part of you to be spending, it's part of you to be doing all kinds of different things. What you do is, next time you won't tell him or her, and you will be hiding what you do. Or you take a credit card, you start spending that credit card, and when the bill comes, it's like, wow, how did this happen? I don't know what happened. I didn't spend this money. How did you spend this money? And you will begin to say, oh, that was for this. You start to lie. You don't want to tell the truth, because you know that if you tell the truth, they are going to yell at you, or they are going to tell you why you should not be spending money that way. But then that doesn't mean that you shouldn't tell the truth. Still tell the truth. Maybe you need help. Maybe you need help with those kind of lifestyle, And so when you tell the spouse the truth, they will know what to do. And they will be able to say, okay, let us work on this. Let us go this way. Let us go that way. You can get counselor. You can get help. You can talk to people who are expert on money management, or get an expert on those things that that is not going well on your part. And you need to really look at yourself yourself, maybe there is a problem when you know there's no money in the house, you have not paid your bills, you have not paid your rent, you have not paid for the children's school things or for the house things, and you are using that money to live a big life, or you are doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. You're going out, you're not telling your spouse, you're hanging with the wrong friends, and your spouse said, well, you know, I don't like this kind of people you're hanging with. Or then you will start to lie. Oh, I went to this person's house, I went to that person, or oh, no, I was just out to go and shop, I didn't go anywhere. We need to be truthful. Truth is the key to a successful marriage. And this way, when you're truthful to your spouse is truthful to you, you will see it will be difficult for that marriage to break because of not telling the truth. The truth is very, very key to our marriage, to the success of our marriage. We need to be truthful, because when you come together, you're now one, according to the Bible, that a man shall leave his mother and his father, and so shall they become one, and no man shall be able to put asunder. Most of the time, we put our own marriage asunder. We cause our own problem. We create our own issues because we don't want our spouse to know what is going on, what we are doing, what kind of friends we're keeping, what kind of relationship, or whatever it is that we do outside of our marriage. So we need to really be honest and tell our spouse the truth. The truth is always key, and then you can find a way to cut out all those extra things that might cause problem in your relationship. Amen. Amen. So we gotta always look at the Bible. And another thing to keep our marriage going without, that might cause us not to be together, is when we don't pray together, when we don't communicate, when we don't relate to one another. All those things are part of these things that we're talking about. So the next thing, I kind of jot a few things down, what can help us to help our marriage to stay together until death do part. The next thing is secret. When you keep secret, you don't, it's like part of lying, but you have secret from the past. You have secrets that that could destroy your marriage, or things that you should tell your spouse so that both of you can look at it and analyze it and really see how it can help you. Because those kind of things, they usually do come back to haunt you. And when it comes to haunt you, it affects the whole family member. It affects the children, it affects you, it affects your husband or your wife, it affects everybody around you. There are some secrets that are better said, no matter how bad it is, no matter how you're not supposed to talk about it. Yes, you don't want to talk about it to people, or maybe you don't want to tell your children because they are young, but you must tell your spouse. You must discuss this with your spouse, because when you discuss those secrets with your spouse, they know. So that when those kind of things come out, eventually, if it's something that will come out to bring shame to your family or disgrace or destroy your family, your spouse will know how to support you. Your spouse will know how to defend you. Because if you do not tell them, they don't know, it's going to be a surprise, just like as it is to everybody. And everybody, voila, you did this, you did that. If you know anything, even before you go into that marriage, if you know anything you've done in the past that you know that might come out, maybe you've been to jail before, you didn't want to let him know. Or maybe you have been involved in stealing where you get caught, or you've been involved in a lie that could affect you later. You need to let them know, because when they know, they will now know, okay, do not marry people hiding things, because when they find out, they will run away from you, and it will be hard and difficult to amend that relationship. Very, very difficult. You have to tell your spouse before you even go into that marriage. They need to know how you lived your life, because it's part of who you are, and it's for them to make that decision whether they want to marry you or not. Because if you force yourself into that marriage because you like that person, what good is it after you've had children, and then all these secrets will begin to come out, different secrets, different things, and they will say, oh, you never told me. If you had told me, I would have still married you. It doesn't matter if they wouldn't have married you, but tell them, so that you know that, okay, this is what they don't like, and then you move on with your life on time. And if you can convince them to still marry you, when they marry you, those things will not become an issue anymore, because when they bring it up, you say, oh, but I told you. It's better to say I told you than to be sorry sometimes. Okay, yes, so that is part of the things too. That's number 2 on our list. Number 3 on our list is focusing on the past. What are you doing in the past? You are now in the present. It's just like we just said early, telling the secret. I've told you my secret. I've told you the way I lived my life. Maybe it wasn't such a good one because of the situation I have at that time before I married you. And then whenever we have an argument, you will go and bring up those my past. You cannot bring back past, because when you bring back past, it really does destroy people, because you are making them relive their past. You're holding them bound in their past. You are making them feel guilty about their past. And this is something that has gone in their past that they don't want to talk about, that they have already told you, that you have already discussed it. Why are you bringing back the past? Why are you always, or maybe when we do something in the past, I was wrong, you will go back to pull it up every time we have an argument, or every time we are discussing about something about the family, whether good or bad, and you will go and pull it up. When you pull those kind of things up, it does destroy the marriage. We need to be careful living in the past. We need to be careful going back to the past. We need to be careful reliving the past, because the past do really, really destroy marriages. And a lot of marriages will tell you that, oh, because of what I told him when we first got married, he's been saying it, and I'm really upset about that. I don't think I can live with a woman or a man that treats me that way. I thought that he loved me or she loved me. That's why we married each other. Why are we still here talking about my past? Why are we still here discussing things that I've already told him that happened to me in my past? And then when you continue to do that, of course, it will make that person feel like you do not care about them. It will make that person feel like you're using them, because you married them because at that time, maybe whatever they could bring to the table of the marriage. But it's not because you love them. It's not because you care for them. It's not because you want to live with them for the rest of your life. Then you keep on going back and forth to their past and keep bringing it up, or whatever secret they must have told you about their family, about their friends, about their lifestyle, and you keep making them to relive those things. Those things do destroy the marriage, because we got married to stay together for the rest of our life. We got married to either raise children, if we choose to raise children, or not to raise children. And we got married to work together as one unit. We got married to love one another till death do pass. We got married so that we can have a life partner, somebody we call our own, somebody that is part and flesh and bone of our bone and flesh of our flesh. So why are we trying to destroy this very thing that we said is part of us, the very thing that we say is part of our life? This is so wrong. We need to really not live in the past anymore. We need to really not go back to the past. We need to begin to live in the present and for the future, and the good things that we expect to happen in our marriage, and the blessings and the God direction and the ways of God that we want to live and continue to do things together, and teach our children in that same way. Because let me tell you something, anything that we do in our marriage with children, the children are watching and they are looking and they are listening, and they know what is going on. So we need to be very, very careful allowing the past to always get into our marriage, or allowing the past to continue to control our life that we are living now. We need to live now, not yesterday, not the days that has gone by or tomorrow. We gotta live today as it comes, and we need to learn to work together and not continue to live in our past, or continue to remind me my past. I remind you your past. What good is it that we are reminding each other our past? It doesn't make any sense. So we need to learn to forget the past and forge ahead for the good of the family. Okay? All right. So the fourth thing we have is putting down each other. It is so bad and so terrible that we will put each other down. You saw me, you love me, you like me for who I am. And we married. Maybe I have some weaknesses. Maybe I have some things I don't know how to do right. You don't know what to do right all the time either. But because we are married, we are supposed to complement each other. We are supposed to support each other. We are supposed to encourage each other. We're supposed to uplift each other. We're supposed to see your flaws is now my flaws, because if I don't clean up your flaws, my flaws will show, because you're my husband or I'm your wife. My flaws people is gonna see it and say, oh, those family, the way they behave. They're not gonna call me anymore and say, oh, the way that girl behave or the way that boy behave, but they will say those family. So if your wife or your husband have a flaw, why are you putting them down? Why are you saying, oh, you're no good, you're stupid? Nobody is stupid, because God did not create stupid. Remember, God created us in his own image. How can imagery of God be stupid? How can imagery of God be nonsense or nobody? God does not have time to create a nobody. God created a man in his own image. He created a woman from the rib of the man, the flesh of his flesh and the bone of his bone. And we are all in the same lineage of God. Why would God create you less important? Why would God make me less important and make you more important? We need to understand that we're all fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And that a man, in Ephesians chapter 5, tells us that a man shall love his wife as Jesus Christ loved the church, and the woman will honor her husband, and the children will obey the parents so that their days will be long. This is a command from God to us. So you marry this woman. The Bible says that who marries a wife marries got a good thing. When you find a wife, you find a very, very good thing. And I'm sure the husband too, you found a good thing, because most men are very, very good and they provide and take care of their family. So when you marry a woman, you married a good thing. Why would you put your wife down? Why would you discard your wife? Why? Especially sometimes we do it in front of our friends to make us look good. And usually it's men that do that, like in front of their friends, they put their wife down. I don't love you. I don't care for you. What are you doing? You are bringing her morale down. And you as a lady, what are you doing? You're bringing his morale down. When you insult him in front of his friends, when you don't respect him, when there are people in the house, So all those kind of things can really, really destroy marriages. And that is the reason why we divorce today. That is the reason why we have separated marriage, divorced marriage, troubled marriage, problem marriage. If we can simply follow what the Bible says about marriage, our marriage will succeed. If we follow simply what the Bible is telling us about being together, being one, because once you marry that person, you are one. And that's why you cannot put each other down. You cannot call each other names. You cannot disrespect each other in front of anybody, in front of the children, in front of the family member, or in front of your friends. You cannot destroy each other. Any differences is workable. Anything that your difference is in your marriage is workable. You just have to sit down and think and reason together and talk together. Communication is key in marriage, because when you do communicate and tell that person, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, let us talk about it. You bring every issue, you discuss it. When you discuss it, there'll be no point in putting each other down. There'll be no point in always yelling and screaming at each other. Yes, there will be time when you will yell and scream at each other when you don't get along or you don't agree with things. But not to put that woman down, not to put that man down, not to treat them like they are nobody. Especially if you're the one that make the money, or you're the one that is the breadwinner, the highest breadwinner. I don't think there is a different breadwinner. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Both of you are the breadwinner. God ordained both of you to be together. God bless you two to be together. So if I make money, you make money, we are both breadwinners, because while this person is making money, this person is in the house cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children, running the errand, doing the laundry, paying the bills, paying the rent, and doing other things and paying the mortgage. But while the other person is at work, working and making money, when you come back, you have to sit together, you have to talk together, you have to reason together, you have to, compare things together and do things together, not to make anybody look lesser because you're making money, or you deny your wife or your husband the money because you're the one making the money. That is so wrong. All these things contribute to failed marriages. When you really speak to the people who are divorced today, their story will be, he always put me down. He does not respect me because he make more money. Why is money so important in marriage? Why? Why is that? Yes, money is good for marriage, but it's not the most important thing. God first, you and your husband second. and as one, number two, in one. And you need to really learn how to work together. You really need to know how to sort out your differences and really know you cannot put your body down. If I'm taking from your rib to be made in the image of God and you're made in the image of God, we are both from the image of God, why are we trashing each other? Why are we looking down on each other? I see some women around their husband, they are very cold and very quiet and they don't speak. Who said you couldn't speak? Your husband is your life partner. You are both one as long as you're married. You cannot be constantly badgering each other. You cannot be constantly cussing each other out. You cannot be constantly putting each other down, because that really do destroy the marriage when you put that person down because they feel lesser than you. I mean, if you're supposed to be one and I feel so less, I feel like nobody, I feel less important. What's the point of being in that marriage? There's absolutely no reason to be there, because it doesn't make sense to be in a place where I'm not even seen as a person, never mind seen as an equal, because you're doing something better than I do, or you know something better than I do, or you're making more money better than I do, and then I become your slave and I become a nobody, I become a non-entity. That is wrong. That is not how God created. And after a while, that person is bound to get tired of that nonsense and get out and like, I will not come back. And that is an abuse, if you ask me. It's emotional abuse. Or sometimes you hit your wife and you think that she's trash, or you hit your husband, you think because you have more power, you can now do anything you want to them. No, that is wrong. It is time to get out. I would get out. But if you want this marriage to work, you need to learn to control your emotion. You need to learn to control yourself. You need to learn to control the way that you act, the way that you treat your wife, you treat your husband. If you want this marriage to work, you have to learn to communicate. You are not always hitting and beating and cussing and saying things that you shouldn't say to your man or to your wife. It is so wrong. You cannot do that to your marriage, because it would destroy it and it is headed for divorce. So the next thing again is bringing other people to compare your wife or to compare your husband. Very, very big issue. A lot of people have that issue where they compare their husband, or they compare their wife, or they compare the house they live to their friend's house. Do you know what they do? Even if you do the same kind of job, bringing in the same amount of money, everybody's problem is different. Their problem in their house, your friend's problem is different. His wife might be a good manager of the money. He might be a good steward of the money. The Bible said that we have to be good steward of whatever God has given us. Maybe they manage better than you do. Maybe you shop too much. That's why you don't have money to buy that big house, to buy that big car, to wear those Givenchy, La Vinci, whatever they call it, all those designer Gucci, or you want to buy anything. But let me tell you something. You need to manage your money. You need to manage your life. You need to focus on your wife, on your husband. You need to focus on your children and think of and work on what can help your marriage continue to stay alive and well, and what can continue to build your family as a unit. Do not worry about what the other person is cooking on their pot, or what you're cooking that is not the same. You're doing what you can do for yourself at this time, because this is what you need at this time for your family. This is what you need to do right now for your family. Everybody that do what they do, they know why they do what they do. Maybe it's their lifestyle. They like to live lavishly. And because if you don't have children, or you don't have any responsibility, you make your money, you eat your money however you want. But you have children. You have a project that you want to complete. Why don't you focus on your children, focus on your marriage, focus on your project? When you finish, that money will come around for you to use anyhow you want. And then if you want to live your life like their life, you live your life like their life. But whether you're rich or you're poor, you're not supposed to live anybody's life. Your life is your life. There is no comparison game, because what is happening in their life is not happening in your life. There are different things. There are different seasons. Talk about time for everything. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the Bible tells us there is time for everything. So when you live your life with time for everything, trust me, There's no reason to be divorcing. You sit with your wife, you sit with your husband, you look at your income. You look at what you need to do and what you don't need to do. Do not do this because Peter and Paul are doing it. Do not do this because David and Terenta is doing it. Do not do this because this person are doing the same thing. No, that is not what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to do your own thing. Remember, you are now a unit. There is two of you, but one in this marriage. You reason for what would be beneficial for you, for her, for him, for the children. Those people are doing what is beneficial for them. They are not doing your thing, but you're copying them. You're comparing yourself to them. You're walking on their ground. You cannot walk on other people's ground. You can only walk on your own ground because you can only maintain the ground that you walk on. You can only maintain your own income. You can only maintain how you plan your money. You remember, what you plan is what comes to you. If you do not plan well, of course, you're not going to have money. Maybe you get your money, you spend it today. Probably those people have people who are sponsoring their lifestyle. Did you ever ask, do you know why they live the life that they live lavishly? Maybe they have saved their money somehow, or they got some money, some grant, some benefit somewhere that they are using. And you think, oh, they are living a lavish life. Maybe they actually achieve, but because people are supporting them, family member or grandmother, grandfather has left them some money in the bank account, they are using it. And you want to really go in there. If you really want to live their life, why don't you just pay attention why they use their money the way they use their money, so that you know if that will work for you too. But if that's not your life, don't try to borrow other people's life so that you can pay back. Because who are you paying back? Yourself. Who are you deceiving? Yourself. Who are you bringing down? Yourself. Who is gonna suffer it at the end of the day? Yourself. Or your friends, they want to go to vacation in Florida. You pack up your bag. I want to go on vacation. You use your rent money to go on vacation. They're using the money their uncle or aunt or somebody gave them to go to vacation. You all go there, or your friend tells you, what are you wearing? This is not a good clothes. That's not your friend. Quit them. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't devalue yourself. Don't bring yourself down because you want to look like everybody else. Don't go overboard over your budget. Don't live life that does not belong to you. Or your friend is they are losing weight, going to the gym, paying money for a personal trainer. You tell your husband or your wife, let's pay because the Jones are paying for their thing, so we can look like them. No, you don't want to look like them. Because they have a reason they look the way they look. They have a reason they do what they do. That shouldn't be your same reason. Your reason should be the reason that will affect and help and support and grow and increase your own family and bless your family and let your family live in that unit that God said a man and a woman shall come together and be together and nothing shall be able to separate them. Do not let people who don't even know what you're doing separate you. Most of the time, these people, they don't even know that you're comparing yourself to them. And probably in their head, they're thinking, why can't we be like you too? Why can't we be like them? Look at the way they work together. Look at the way they unite. Look at the way they spend less and take care of their children. But no, you want to go and be like them when they even want to be like you. You have to know what makes people think before you want to be like somebody. Be like somebody for what? Or they say, oh, the way you dress, I don't like it. That's what you have. That's what you have to wear. Yes, there is a party. Everybody is dressed with the big bag and the big shoes and the big cars. Come with what you have. Go as you are. Even Jesus said, come to me just the way that you are. Why would man tell you how to come? If you're not good to be their friend, they should leave you alone. If they know you as their friend, this is how you dress, they need to accept you for who you are. Oh, you're not wearing those longer hair, those Brazilian hair, it's $2 million. You're not going to that hairdresser to do your hair because they charge $200 and they make it good. Trust me, look good for yourself. Take a shower, clean your clothes, iron it, you are good to go. Do not compare your life with other people. Let them live their life the way they want to live their life because they can afford it. You can't. And because these things bring divorce, it brings separation, and you see them flourishing in their marriage or in their relationship, and yours is falling apart every day because you are busy looking at them and you don't know that they wish to be like you. They want to go anywhere to expensive restaurant. You know you have 3 kids in the house. You say, oh yeah, let us go. When you come back, you're crying because you want to be like them. You go to an expensive restaurant, you spend $30, $40, $50, even $100 just to buy a meal that you will not even finish or that will not fulfill you in any way. And then when you come back, you look at your pocket, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your bills because you're trying to be like the Jones. And then after a while, you two will begin to argue with each other and say, oh, why did we spend that money? And then they blame and the shifting will fall in. Oh, you said we should go with them. You know we don't have that kind of money. Now you're blaming me for the money. You're blaming me for the bill. You are supposed to blame each other. You are supposed to cut it out. You are supposed to stop it and say, we cannot live this lifestyle anymore. Your home is your crown. Anything can happen in your home. If you don't want people to know, they will not know. What about if you have gone out there and your credit card bounced? They now know your business. They will not talk about you. They say, oh my God. They will borrow you the money probably to laugh at you at the end and to talk wrong about you at the end because you're trying to compare gain. No, you cannot. It destroys marriage. Then the last and not the least is our parents, our siblings interfering in our marriage, and we let them. You see, anybody have a right to speak their mind. That's what we don't understand. When you are married, you are one with your husband. You are one with your wife. It doesn't matter what your mom says. Yeah, sometimes they can advise you and say, oh, you know, but let it be the advice that you're looking at and thinking that it is supposed to help your marriage. If it's like us African, where our mother will say, oh, come and build house in your father's house, build house in your mother's house, for what? You are married. Anything you build is for you and your husband and your children. Or your parents come here and interfere in your marriage and you allow them when you know they are causing you pain and ache. You never fought with your husband and your mother comes all of a sudden, every day you're fighting. You want to know the root of the problem. You do not want your parents, your husband's parents, your mother's parents, your wife's parents to come in between your marriage. Because they are living in their own, you're living on your own, you're learning. They're supposed to encourage you and tell you how marriage should really be. And not always coming in there to cause problem between you and your husband or your wife. Coming to tell you how to live your life, how to raise your children. They've raised you, right? If they feel that they did a good job, why are they interfering in your own marriage? They should trust in themselves that, oh, we did a good job with our son, with our daughter. We know they will do the right thing. They will make the right decision. Why are we letting them come and divide us? Why are we letting them come and work against us? At the end of the day, they will die or they will move away back where they are. You are alone with that man. Or they go away and die. You will be alone and live alone for the rest of your life. And you begin to reminiscing and say, oh my God, this is what my mother, if my mother didn't do that, I could have still been with this guy. I could have still been with this woman. Do not let your siblings, your mother, your sister, your friend interfere in any way in your marriage. Marriage is supposed to be one unit, you and your husband alone. And then your children make it whole. You cannot continue to live a life swallowing in the life that is not yours. If your parents couldn't work their marriage out, or if they are living together at 60, 70, 80 years old, why can't they leave you alone to make your own decision and make your own wrong and do what you need to do? Your mother knows, yes. Your father knows, yes. But they can destroy your marriage if you continue to tell them every story that is happening in your marriage. Every day you go, you tell your mom, oh, you know, my husband said this, my wife said this, my husband did this, my wife did this. Trust me, your mother has an opinion. And no woman, no man will stand and see their child being maltreated in marriage. It's not going to happen. Even you that is in your marriage will not like to see it happen to your children. So you will interfere. There are things you do not tell your parents when you're married, because they will come in there and try to tell you the way they live, but that's not the way you live, because you're living in the 21st century. They lived in the 10th century or something. Do not let them come in from nowhere and destroy what you have built. You saw this man, you saw this woman, you chose to live together. Live together. Then if trouble comes, you know it's both of your fault or one of you caused it. And then you blame yourself rather than blaming people, because you're not a child. Once you turn 18, you're an adult. You can make a formative decision. You can make your own decision. Do not let your parents come in and swallow what you have been building in one day. I see I'm from Nigeria. I see some of our Nigerian mothers come, or father, within 4 months or 1 year, that marriage is already destroyed, is already going for divorce. And you wonder, these people were so together, so united, so working together. I've seen it. And I've heard it too. Seen and heard. Not just seeing, not just hearing. And they say, oh, we were doing so good till my mother came. Even friends will say, my God, I want to be like that marriage. But you know what? When they come in, because they think that you are digging money in your backyard. We want money. We want this. Why don't you build a house in your family? Your friend's family build. Why didn't they build their own house? Ask me again. Why didn't you build your own house? That was your time. You've lived it. This is my time. Doesn't mean if you have extra to build a house, you shouldn't. But it must be agreement between you and your husband. When you have money, lavish it. Of course, instead of lavishing it, build for your parents, build for your sibling, build for everybody. Give money. Don't take your paycheck for rent, for bills, and send to your parents when you have not even put in food on the table. They raised you, right? They struggle to raise you. Trust me, you're no longer there. They will struggle to continue to be okay. There are things we need to plan for our parents, and we put those things apart from them. That's a story for another day, not for today's topic. You gotta mind your marriage. That's why there's so much divorce. I would never believe the first time I start hearing, people from Africa are divorcing. Usually we don't. We stay in the marriage. Not that if you're being abused, you should stay in the marriage, you should get out. But we've known to keep marriage. So when did going abroad and Western world begin to destroy our marriages? And then we look at our marriage and we begin to work on our marriage the way other people are working their marriage. We begin to have that comparison game. We begin to put everybody down. We begin to compare. We begin to, try to live other people's life. We begin to let our parents come in and live with us and, and destroy it. Another thing is living other people's dreams. Living in other people's dream. That's like trying to be like the Jones. You cannot live a dream that does not belong to you. You can only live the dream that God has designed for you and your family. Don't tell your mother all your story in your marriage. If she told her story to her mother and father and parents-in-law, she won't still be in that marriage. Because some men don't want to talk about it. So my dear married couples, these 5 or 6 things I've outlined, trust me, that's what destroys marriage. Go anywhere, go to the bank, you will cash it. That is some of the reasons marriage get destroyed. Keeping secret, trying to be who you are not, focusing on other people's business, putting down yourselves, bringing other people into your marriage, your parents, your siblings, money, secrets, different things. And some other things that we don't even know. But trust me, any marriage that destroyed, these things I listed out, one of them must show up. Let us be careful and work our marriage and make it strong. And let no man put asunder, but join together and be one. I hope we learned something today from that topic. What destroys our marriage? Why is the reason our marriage get into divorce and separation? That was our topic today. I hope we have learned and understand and plan a way to work our marriage for better. Thank you all for listening. I want to say thank you all that visit my channel on YouTube, Real Blessing Chukwu Show, and those of you that join me every Sunday on Time to Connect. If you have not ever visited my channel, go to YouTube, www.youtube.com, search Real Blessing Chukwu Show. While you're there, touch the red button that says subscribe. Turn on your notification bell to receive our weekly upload. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Leave us a message or a comment on blessingchukwu@gmail.com. blessingchukwu678@gmail.com. If you have any suggestion, any idea of a show, or you like what we discussed before, you want to go back and talk about something that we've discussed before, send us an email and we will sure get back to you. And don't forget, every Sunday on Time to Connect, for the past few weeks, we've been talking about women in the Bible, how wonderful and fearfully women are made. They are no lesser than men. And we have looked at so different women. And we are going to be looking at Martha, Mary Magdalene, the sister of Lazarus. So join me every Sunday on Time to Connect as I go in depth into the Word of God and to let us know how God wants us to raise our family and to deal with the world in this 21st century, and to always help you unfold your daily dream. Be blessed and continue to work on that marriage thing. Take care of yourself and take care of your spouse. Love yourself and love each other, because I love you. And you know what? Most importantly, God loves you the most. Take care of yourself and stay always connected with me on Real Blessing Chukwu Show. Bye-bye. Love you all. Mwah.